Welcome everybody to a Delco Nerd Network Hot Take. Guys, if you haven't seen a hot take before, well, it's where a few friends get in a basement, give our thoughts, give our opinions on a TV show, movie, or game. Today, it's going to be it's going to be a TV show, and that TV show is She-Hulk, Attorney at Law. Here to discuss, as always, I was going to say like the Man in Black. I don't know why. The Man in Black.
You got Black Adam on the brain, Gooch. I know.
Yeah. Chris Trio.
Gooch. Trio Smash. How are you?
Good. We're here to have a... I'm not looking forward to talking about this show.
I kind of am not either.
I don't think...
to be honest.
I just... Like, the conversation about She-Hulk has been so toxic, and it's such a different show, and it's good and it's bad. What do you think about She-Hulk, Trio?
It's a very mixed bag.
It is.
Is it... Would you say it's as... I don't think it is. Would you think it's as mixed as Boba Fett was?
No, I think it's better than Boba Fett.
I would agree. Okay, so that's a nice baseline.
Good
I'm curious, right? That's what I was saying, because I felt like it was a real mixed bag. I really love Tatiana Maslany.
Yeah,
as She-Hulk, as
no
Jennifer
problem
Walters.
With the actor.
I think she does a really good job in the role. I like some of the growth she goes through this season.
Yeah,
I think it's kind of sporadic, but when it happens, it works very well. But there are just certain things like the social commentary that kind of makes me roll my eyes a little bit sometimes.
Yeah. There
are plot elements that I'm like, what we should have thought this through a little bit more and maybe focused on some other things. I like that she broke the fourth wall. Fun facts you might not know or might know, she did that before Deadpool. So that was really her thing first. I wish they committed to that a little bit more throughout the season. But yeah, overall, I just think it was a real mixed bag. And I think I simultaneously really enjoy and kind of eye roll at the end. Because I think it can be very easily seen as kind of taking this cop out, and we'll talk about it. But it is very much within what that character does, and I think it does work in a She-Hulk type of story. But yeah, I don't know, Gooch, what did you think?
Yeah, I don't think this is for me.
Sure.
I don't think I've ever said that with a Marvel show. I really don't think.
Didn't we say that for like Miss? I guess I did for Miss Marvel. That was not a show for me.
Yeah, this is not for me. Frankly, I don't really know who this is for. I feel like the writing is absolutely all over the place. Like there are some good episodes. I like the first episode. I like obviously the Daredevil episode is good. And
I think that's the best one. Absolutely.
There's a few good episodes in the mix, but like the Megan Thee Stallion episode, I was like, what the fuck is this?
Sure.
And then they're spoiling The Sopranos. Get out of here. Why? I'm watching.
We got a very angry text from Gooch.
Shout out to Casey Wong, friend of the show. He's like, Gooch, here are the... Or no, actually, he told me about the spoilers. My coworker then sent me the time codes for the spoilers so I could mute. And I'm like, and they're big spoilers. I don't know what they are, but like, dude, they're huge. And I'm like, why are we doing that? Why are we spoiling a show like that?
I don't think that's... how old is that show?
It's like 15 years? It ended like 15 years ago.
For me, if it's past 10 years...
I'm watching it.
If it's past 10 years... I think it's kind of fair game. I don't know, but I hear you. I do think it's fair.
I feel like the social commentary sounds like it's written by a millennial and somebody who actually doesn't have any writing experience at all. I think there's a good way to have like those conversations and do these types of stories.
And not feel like you're bashing someone over the head.
In a smart way. And I really don't think that was done here. Like, I just feel like I'm like, Jesus
I feel like
Christ.
when it wasn't talking about that stuff, it was at its strongest.
Like the dating episode, I found really funny because one, you can tell millennials wrote that. Because, like, I'm like, oh, I can relate to this.
Yeah.
Like it's a little bit, what's the word? Exemplified?
Yeah. Yeah.
But, like, it's kind of, like, true. Like, that
dating hyperbolistic.
It's a little hyperbolic. I'm like, but, this is, like, on point with, like, what dating is in 2022.
Yeah.
Like,
and I did like that idea of her having that struggling of, like, man, I want people to like me for Jen Walters, not just for being She-Hulk.
Right.
That works. That does. But I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No. But I just feel like they, like when the lawyer, I forget the other lawyer's name.
I can't remember.
The black woman.
She's really good. I like her a lot.
She's also a comic book character. Mm-hmm. Same with like Pug and like they all are pretty much. like calling like intelligentsia like man babies. I'm like, we can like actually like have like a better dialogue about like what they're talking about here. I'm like, are we talking like we're talking on Twitter, or are we talking like we're a Disney Marvel team and we're writing a good show? Because like honestly, you know what was like, not to jump to that last episode, but when spoilers, when She-Hulk goes into the writing room, and I'm like, I feel like they're making fun of themselves, but they're like real. I'm like, you realize like you're making fun of yourself, but like this is like kind of true.
The CGI stuff was like, that was the one where I was just kind of like,
I'm like,
that's
yeah,
funny,
you guys
but like maybe we shouldn't.
The She-Hulk CGI is not good at all.
I disagree. By the end of the series, I think it looks really good. But I think that's because they're literally continuously working on those last episodes up until they're put out. You know what I mean? But I'm sorry.
Yeah. The show just could have been better, and it wasn't for me. But again, I don't know who the show was fucking for. I like She-Hulk as a character. I think she's cool. I would have loved to seen this been like a serious law drama by day, but like I'm a millennial and I'm a young adult, and I'm trying to have like a normal life, and I'm a superhero by night kind of thing. Like Better Call Saul. Writing like that show is funny. That show's like a comedy at some point, but it's smart. It's smartly written.
Sure. I do think She-Hulk as a character is very much what this show is, though, and it's not a very serious legal drama within the comic book. But I do think it is a court case style comic book where I would have liked to see them stuck more to that. I really liked the episode with the guy who keeps killing himself. I found that to be very funny, that kind of subplot. I liked those little kind of niche characters you could deal with within this series, and I wish they focused on that more. I wish they did focus on Jen Walters more in the court. I really liked that scene with her and Daredevil in the court, and her and Matt Murdock. I think that worked very well.
Yeah,
and I didn't feel like either one was kind of stepping on each other. It was just like they were both making points within the law, and it works well. I would have liked to see more of that, and that's where it comes down to. There are pieces of this show that I think if they expanded upon and really kind of focused in on, you would have a more even-keeled and better season. I do like where we've gotten to by the end of the season. I like that kind of last moment of where she's talking to Daredevil and she's like, you can help people as Jen Walters when the law is good for them, and when the law fails them, you can help them as She-Hulk. Like, that's cool. That works for me. I really enjoy that.
Having Daredevil and Matt Murdock in there was like a key move. And because like, that's the first time I saw She-Hulk, I'm like, damn, like her versus Daredevil, that'd be really cool. Like, or Matt.
I did really like
Matt
that
Murdock
scene.
versus Jen Walters in court. Like, that's like the dream.
Yeah.
And I would like to see more of that for sure. Did you like the relationship?
Yes.
You like how they fucked?
I loved it. I absolutely loved it.
I like that too. What I didn't like, I was like, but what about Karen, Matt? What about Karen?
But we don't know what's going on with Karen in this universe.
Best relationship that Marvel's ever done is Karen and Matt.
One of the best things Marvel has ever done, period, is Daredevil.
That scene in season 3 when they're in the rain and he's like just feeling her up her arm.
It's a moment.
Romance, people. Romance.
It works. But
look it up.
It was just so nice to see Charlie Cox back in the role, and I do think he works very well in this. I loved seeing him Daredevil do more of his kind of acrobatic stunt types, because I mean he does.
I didn't
have
like the CGI for it, as I told you.
But again, I don't know how. I think you can do the CG better on that.
But I just need the CGI.
But Marvel, I think it worked well. It worked for me.
Like when Marvel critiques themselves in their own show about their CGI and about their writing, and I'm like, do you guys like? Well, do you know,
especially
like,
with what's been going on in the last couple.
Like, do you get that, or like are you just making that joke because you like?
I do think
are you oblivious to this?
For me personally, I do think Marvel has fixed some of its writing with the stuff where it's like. Not all the time. I still think it falls prey to it, like with the tropes of the bad guy fights the bad guy with the same exact powers. I guess they kind of do. I guess they somewhat do that in Doctor Strange. I feel like that was very much a Phase 1 issue, but I think the more poignant one is the CGI thing, where it's like we have multiple articles coming out about how you do terrible working conditions for CGI artists and how you're pumping things too quickly. By the way, whenever we talk about how much CGI sucks within something, it's not because of the CGI artists. It's because they were not given enough time to complete said thing.
Right.
Because anything can look... I mean, looking back at even some movies, you can see some amazing CGI. And
it's because the Snyder Cut.
For sure. But like
look at like Steppenwolf as a character, immaculate.
No, and especially with his...
Immaculate.
I think his armor is probably the coolest achievement throughout that whole... Just the way how well it works. But for sure, if you give people the time... and you give people what they need and not change up everything on a dime, because that seems to be the big issue. They seem to be giving these CGI artists an ending that they're supposed to cut together, and then they decide to just change the entire ending in the next 2 months, and they're like, well, you guys got to make this new ending.
Yeah,
so that's a big issue.
Like, it almost seemed like they didn't really know where they were writing this show, and then they got to the end, and it's really stereotypical, and Jen's like, wait, stop, this is stereotypical. And you know, like the viewer like tunes out, and she's like in Disney Plus, which I thought was really funny.
Yeah.
And then she like goes into what is it?
Marvel Studios, basically.
No, it's what's the documentary show that they always
behind the scene, like Avengers Assembled or something like that.
Yeah, and she goes into that, and she gets on the thing, and then like we said, she goes to the writer's room, and then goes to like Kevin Feige HQ.
I did like that Kevin was a...
See, okay, here's what I have to think about Kevin. So, like, obviously we have Kevin the robot.
Did you see his little hat?
Yes. And I'm like, okay, you know what's funny? Kevin Feige seems like this actual robot who's like making these decisions, and like it is like that. I'm like, but what I think it would have been funny if they actually got Kevin. I don't know why they could Kevin Feige.
I think he just didn't want. I feel like I don't know.
Sure
maybe he's feeling like maybe that felt a bit more self-indulgent, like almost like a Stan Lee figure you're putting in. And I feel like this works. I do think this works for me. I like the idea that it's just this AI
like,
bot.
Where's the X-Men?
I kind of like. That was one I didn't mind. I like that Jen could be this like friend of the fan that's with it a little bit more than even Deadpool
She didn't
can.
break the fourth wall, and you even said it, as much as I thought she was going to. She does at the beginning, and then she really stops.
Well, it's usually like once an episode where she'll just kind of talk to you in the camera, and it's not really anything as major as like we're seeing. I mean, in the comics, she'll tear through the page and be like, she's like, I don't have a way out, and then she'll be literally tearing through the comic page.
Yeah,
I want more stuff like that.
God, I feel bad for Mark Ruffalo and what they're doing to the Hulk, man.
Why is that? Talk to me.
It's just Mark Ruffalo acting as the Hulk.
He's Smart Hulk now. Well, I mean, we got to get by. If that's what it is, that's what
we got to get back to hulking out.
Like being really like crazy.
We need Planet Hulk. We need World War Hulk. We need Avengers versus Hulk. We need a movie where the Hulk is going nuts. I feel like that character is now so underutilized because they've turned him into Smart Hulk all the time. 24/7.
Well, it turns him into a different character. Absolutely.
Yeah.
It does.
Like it's so funny to compare like Abomination versus Hulk in The Incredible Hulk, and then you know the quick Abomination versus Hulk shot at the end of She-Hulk, and it's like where have we gone? Same with Abomination and Emil Blonsky. Like, what happened to this character?
His storyline worked for me.
I thought it was like I didn't really like, I don't know. I think I was just like too extreme of a jump. I know it's been like 15 years or whatever the fuck, like 10 years since we've seen him.
Yeah.
But like I'm like, well, why are we not? Well, I guess we know why. Maybe he's not being used for Thunderbolts because they're recasting Harrison Ford, and maybe Harrison Ford is going to be Red Hulk, and that's
I want to see a grumpy red Harrison Ford, and
I'm so terrified.
He's
of that.
older than fucking what's his name was. That's the that's the thing that just quick side tangent. It doesn't scare me that he's in it. It's like, man, he's really old.
Yeah,
like he could die. Like that's
they
the thing.
Shouldn't have recast.
But anyways,
yeah. So I'm like, okay, like, and now Blonsky is out of the raft because of Wong, and I liked Wong's inclusion, but again, we spoiled The Sopranos. So what the fuck was that? That character was funny. What was her name?
Michelle. Was it Michelle?
She spelled her name funny.
No,
but not with the eye where you think it would be. Or something like that.
No,
like,
she was really funny.
That character was so stupid, but I thought it was.
No,
funny.
It works for me. And even I like the kind of shot of her with Wong, and people are like, "Oh, they're dating now." What? I'm like, that. I mean, they could be, but like, they could just be.
The show almost feels like it's CW-ish in a way too.
In what way?
It's writing.
I disagree. CW writing's so much more melodramatic and like
no, dude,
and just
some like Legend. Well, when Legends was still on, like Legends of Tomorrow writing, not like Arrow season 1 writing.
Again, I'm definitely you are closer to that than I am at this point. Like, so maybe you have a better reference point, but it did not feel like that to me at all. Like for I feel like CW has a very specific way of writing its kind of drama and melodramatic moments. I don't know, but I take your point for sure. Yeah, I don't know. I think she looks way better I do think the CGI improved near the end. Like 10, like when she gets out in her dress at the last gala. I think she looked awesome, and I think it works very well.
That suit she was in when she doesn't have, excuse me, hiccup. When she doesn't have her actual suit, was an issue. Like I think
at the beginning,
yeah.
So, but
like this
that seemed to be
like
on
men's suit. It was, but it did not look good.
But like, so
Like
I
the
agree.
CGI of the not looking good suit did not look good.
See, that's the conundrum. So it's like, it does seem like it's obviously intended to look ill-fitting and not for her.
Right.
But then the CGI looks lacking on top of it. So you're like, how much is that like intentional, or did you guys try? I do feel like there was some weird walk cycle stuff, especially going on at the beginning when you see her kind of walking next to people.
Yeah.
And she had her
like,
hair up and stuff.
In a wide shot. What'd you think of Titania? Because I didn't like her either.
I didn't hate that kind of. It kind of felt like it just ended in nothing with a weird little punch up. I thought the idea of this person just kind of stealing her clout and using that. I thought that was a funny little courtroom drama thing.
Sure.
But the payoff, where it's just this weird little punch up, was who cares? Also, we don't really get any comeuppance for the guy who guy fucking releases a sex tape of She-Hulk in this.
Yeah.
That's like actually pretty heavy, and I think you could do that in a way.
But they don't.
But
treat
they
it
don't
as
really
heavy.
treat it as heavy. That guy you don't really get much on after the thing's
and
over.
that's why when I'm in Discord and I go, that was the worst episode. Do you realize they like by doing the fourth wall break, they actually just remove the entire plot of the final episode and all those payoffs that they talk about at the end, and they're showing you like the climax. You don't actually see.
Well, they're just the guy's getting carted away.
They just
and then
tell you.
There's like, this is what's happening.
And then Daredevil just shows up, which is kind of funny. But I'm just like, we didn't actually get a finale.
That's the risk you start running with a show like this. In the way, if you're gonna go with that fourth wall break, it's like, all right, now I want to get invested in this whole next season. But by the time you get to the last episode, are you gonna kind of pull this switcheroo on me? And I'm not. And I mean, Kevin does go, this is the last time you're doing this, and then he flaps her back. Flaps. I don't know why I said flaps. Flashes her back.
And I do like how she's kind of like, I'm trying to figure out who I am, and I think that's a good theme for this show, or for this season of this show. But like, I don't think it really like executes it 100%.
No, for sure.
That's kind of my issue with it, and we don't really know where She-Hulk's going. There are some reveals at the end, which again I'm like, okay, like I guess we can reveal Scar like that.
It did feel weird to me. I would agree with you.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, like now we're doing a World War Hulk storyline, but like we just kind of like skipped over all that.
Well, but like, so he has Scar at. I don't know. I know little to nothing
So he
about the
definitely
World War
fucked
stuff.
somebody on Sakaar. and
Absolutely,
that's where he comes
in Hulk
from.
form.
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, he hasn't changed. So, but he does. So he seems to be able. I didn't even think about that. He seems to be able to change.
Scar,
No, Hulk,
Banner.
Bruce Banner, because at the beginning he's Bruce Banner,
right?
and when she mixes blood with him, I do think that works better than the comic book thing, the transfusion a little bit better.
I guess I'm okay with it. I'm not gonna get upset about that.
I kind of wish they did this. I don't know, maybe on the first or second episode. I did love the callback to the Incredible Hulk like opening for this last episode, like the classic show.
Yeah, the show.
I thought that was a lot of fun
with David Banner.
Yeah.
Like I thought that was cool.
You know,
but the guy being casted as the savage She-Hulk was weird.
But
so
why?
I didn't mind it when I didn't know it, but now that I'm like, they casted a dude for that. I'm like, oh my god.
Well, but I guess they took because they made it so over the top. I think that, and especially if you were making that show back at that time, I don't know, maybe they would have casted a big woman. But no, I don't know. That was really funny to me. That
I mean,
really
that's
got
what
me.
I wanted to see originally from She-Hulk. It's like, okay, cast, maybe do the David Banner Incredible Hulk thing and have Lou Ferrigno and another dude and maybe two different actors, because I don't know. I think it'd be cool to see like a woman of that size and stature actually be a superhero instead of doing the CGI route. Well, but and again, I like Tatiana Maslany. She's good. I don't have an issue with her.
Sure.
I just have an issue with the writing and like, okay, so like, how does She-Hulk like fit into the rest of the MCU, and why is everyone in this MCU show feel like they're people in real life acting like they're in an MCU show? Because like nobody feels real in this show at all. Like I just find it hard to believe these are real people. Like in the MCU where we have a universe and like the guy,
it just feels like this is what the MCU, like this is what living in the universe
is a real character in the MCU, but he's just like a stereotype.
Sure, I don't know. They felt like people like that didn't really ring anything to me. I don't know. It didn't feel like not real to me. Like this is
like I don't know. And
this feels as like kind of crazy and loopy as the
like the
MCU
Hulk
would be.
King, like that knockoff art. I'm like, I don't really know how I feel about that. And like this feels like something so.
Again, all that stuff that would exist in real life. There would be a
it does,
and it does, and we see it. It's just more pointing out something and saying something that's obviously terrible and wrong.
No, not intelligentsia. I just meant like the artwork. Like, remember that guy selling like the knockoff, like the Avengers?
Oh.
Like, I'm like, this is so stupid.
But again, that would happen in real life.
Yeah, I know. Okay.
So that's what I'm saying.
The
I don't know.
intelligentsia thing makes sense, but I just don't think that, like, again, like, we knew that dude was the head of intelligentsia.
I feel stupid that I didn't really put that together by the end.
I
don't know why I did.
Like the Wakandan spear thing. Like he's like,
no, that's again of
this
like
is obvious.
Well, that didn't even lead me to that, but that's again one of those kind of like caricature things of this guy. He's like I stole some artwork and they want it back. Why? Like I don't know. Maybe there are people out there like that, but it just seems so over the top that you're
this is so unrealistic. Like I just can't even take this seriously.
But and again, we're watching a show with a 7-foot tall green woman who can throw cars, so we're gonna hit some unrealistic stuff, and that's fair. But you need some fidelity in it, and I do agree with you that was like just a bit beaten over the head. But the Daredevil stuff, the Daredevil episode was my favorite, and even that ending was like it was like when she gets the thing played on the screen and she loses it for the first time.
See,
and
I don't really feel like they played into that super well. I think I needed to see more of her.
So, but that's why. So that's what I'm saying. I feel like they set it up really well for the penultimate episode, but then by the finale, they don't really follow it through and be like, Jen, you could kill someone if you lose it.
And that's what Bruce says to her at the beginning. And
I feel like she kind of brushes it off a little.
Like you fucking lost it.
Yeah, like you could kill someone if you lose your temper.
Right.
And again, fair. And I do take the idea of like, you know, women having to deal with this much work, like having to be on edge almost a lot more often.
You're reminding me about something. Thank you.
The women having to be much more on edge all the time than men at all time. I think that's a fair point. I think that's the idea, but I think that would be then Bruce saying, "Well, but this is why we have to watch it." And this
when Jennifer is talking to Bruce, and Bruce is kind of like, you know, I guess for the show's terminology, mansplaining what it's like to be a superhero to her. And she's kind of
to be a Hulk even.
Yeah, and she's kind of like, well, I'm a woman, and you know, I deal with this, you know, this every day, and I'm always threatened and verbally abused and all that stuff. And I'm like, do you know who you're talking to? You know, this guy tried to like kill himself, right? Like, I'm like, he's an Avenger. He snapped the Infinity Gauntlet. I'm like, I don't think we're we're quite on the same fucking level.
We need that to be within the context of the Marvel universe. It's just like
it's like almost like disrespectful to like everything this character has done.
No, it did feel like, and again, she doesn't necessarily know all these things he's gone through, but I do feel like she kind of easily
she does, because the public definitely does.
Well, I don't know if he could have told her that he's actually tried to like kill himself, and the more darker thing, like they obviously know the broader.
And I'm using a deleted scene,
which they do, but they do.
They take as canon.
They reference that in Avengers, so it is canon. She says in Avengers Ultron, he says to Nat how he tried. He's like, I tried to do it once. I put a bullet in my.
You're right. It's cut from Avengers, but they reference it in Agent Ultron.
No, well, or maybe it is actually in Avengers 1 when she's recruiting him.
Yeah.
I think that's when he references it, but it's a cut scene in The Incredible Hulk.
That's what it is.
Yeah,
yes.
and it actually there's some dark scenes that were cut from that movie.
That's what I'm saying. And I'm like, this isn't like this isn't anything towards women, but I'm like, I just don't understand like what I'm like.
It felt like
put
a
it in
very
perspective a little bit. Like this is not. It's not about that.
And it wasn't like he was trying to explain it.
Not the first Avenger, but like one of the first
Avengers.
This guy lived through the snap, and he fucking snapped the Infinity Gauntlet. He saved humanity. Like let's back the fuck up.
Again, I think they can make the point that they were trying to make without kind of stepping on Bruce.
And then there's that Dennis guy. What the fuck? Like
which guy's Dennis?
The dude who's just like an asshole. The lawyer guy who's like when he's on TV.
Oh yeah, just told you.
When he calls like a woman I'm like, are we serious? Is this what we're doing?
When he's talking about She-Hulk?
And like
after the thing?
in the first or second episode when they're in the bar. I like that bar's name, by the way.
Yeah.
It's like a play on some lawyer thing. But yeah, he's like, oh, there's like a hot woman. I'm gonna go talk to it. I'm like, no.
Did he really say that?
Yes. And I'm like, dude,
again, that's something maybe women have heard. I don't know, but I genuinely...
There's misogynistic people in this world.
A good amount of them.
I don't think anyone would talk like that to another girl.
Again, I think
maybe
there is, but like...
Are you kidding me? Like,
it just seems so beyond the pale for anything I've ever heard. And again, we're talking about our own personal experiences, like some people can, and I totally understand. I can't imagine some of the shit that's been said to a fucking girl sometimes, but
yeah, but
it just seems very
hard to believe.
It does, and again, I don't know. In the moment, it didn't hit for me. I agree with that 100%.
Yeah, like I just like, okay, like I don't think like people are like this fucking like belligerently, ignorantly rude.
It's like I think there probably are, but it's like online. I wonder how many of them. I don't know. Maybe they're all.
This dude seemed like a dude on Twitter, like just like
a caricature of this dude.
Yeah,
no, for sure. Yeah, I don't know. Again, it's a very just mixed bag in general. I think when people talk about that this tone isn't right for the MCU, it's jokey. I don't think that's a fair criticism, because this is what She-Hulk is. The comic book is this tone. It's kind of this idea. Maybe the writing's a bit better or worse depending on your own outlook than the comic books. But this is what She-Hulk is. And if we don't want this type of tonal things within the Marvel Universe, I just don't think that's a good way to go, because I do think we need to be stepping into new genres, full genres with these movies, and not necessarily caring about, like, you talk about what do the phases mean at this point.
Yeah.
And that's fair, but at the same time, I'm
phase 4
fine
has
with
just
them.
been all over the place. Like, nothing really connects to anything.
Well, it seems like the through line is the multiversal stuff, if we want to take it at that.
Which makes sense, but still.
Sure, it's not as blatant as we're getting the Infinity Stones and we're going to fight Thanos. I get that. I think that's fair. But I'm fine with these shows going off and being their own thing as long as they're good. We'll talk about it. We're going to review it. Well, how much was it?
I mean, the run times were just sometimes
it was
atrocious.
it was like 30 minutes.
And then again with the finale, we didn't even have enough time to really have a finale.
I agree with that. It was too short.
Yeah, like a lot of these episodes, I'm like, we're in and we're out. I'm like, is 27 to 32 minutes like really enough?
I think
like, it doesn't feel like it's enough at all.
I think this would have been served better as what they did with the special presentation. With what we're going to review it at some point. I really would like to. Werewolf by Night.
Yeah, so actually, I was planning to maybe I mentioned it to you, but let's do it this weekend.
That's what I was thinking, and then I'll be like our Black Adam.
Do Black Adam, we'll
cool,
do them back to
so
back.
we'll be live reviewing that.
I just gotta watch it.
We'll be live reviewing that Sunday. But like that is absolutely my favorite thing that the MCU
bring that up. Like,
has done in 10 years. It's so if you didn't put the Marvel logo in front of that, you wouldn't know that it's a Marvel property. And maybe you think that's a bad thing, but fucking
that's a
loved
good thing.
it. Like,
I mean, like, look at The Winter Soldier. I think we like that so much because it's
a spy thriller. It's an espionage
right. I mean, we
film.
get Captain America and Black Widow are in it, but it really kind of finds its own identity within a genre and runs off it. And She-Hulk technically does that, but I just don't think that the production and the writing are tight enough to execute those ideas fully and well.
I agree. I would completely concur with that.
And I guess the only question I have to end it here is, where do you think they're going to put She-Hulk next? I don't know if we're getting a season 2 of the show.
I think we will.
Okay.
I do think. Oh well, I don't know. Maybe we won't. I'm pretty confident we'll see her in some form or another.
For sure.
I think we'll. I mean, they're supposedly doing that A-Team movie, right?
A-Team.
The all-female Avenger, not A-Team. What is it called? Like they're like the all-female Avengers
really?
one.
They're doing that?
Well, I feel like that was like talk. I don't know if they followed up on it like
Girls
forever ago.
True.
Thank you.
From
the boys. No, I don't know. I think Jen is a strong enough character on her own. I'd actually kind of wouldn't mind seeing her in Daredevil, honestly. I think that would work. I think one of the strongest parts of this season were her and Matt Murdock together.
So, and here's another question that I just thought of, but I was thinking of earlier. Do you think Daredevil's canon?
What do you mean?
The show.
Oh, no.
Okay,
I think it's
here's what I think.
Yeah.
I think it is canon until they want to contradict something, and they will.
no, that's
they will change it.
Gooch. I don't know if you know this term, but I think it's a requel. I've learned about this.
what?
Well, a requel. It's not a sequel, but it's
a requel.
It's a reboot, but involving elements of an old movie.
So what's an example of a requel?
The Incredible Hulk.
Okay,
They
true.
take
Yes.
parts of that from the Eric Bana
Ang Lee,
one.
yeah.
You know, he starts in they actually literally. So I've been watching Mr. Sunday movies. He's been doing Caravan of Garbage on the Incredible Hulks. I would highly recommend. They're fun. Caravan of Garbage, by the way,
Like
does not.
even the shows.
No, just the movies.
Okay, just the two.
He did the two, and
Wait, the other one is called the Incredible Hulk. I thought
no,
it was
it's just
the
called Hulk. I think you're right. I think that's the Incredible, and it's
No,
Ang Lee's Hulk.
just Hulk.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
so
we
yeah,
call it Ang Lee's Hulk now.
it seems like the requels are back in style. That's what it is. It's gonna be a reboot that takes a lot of elements from that.
And I'm okay
show.
with Born Again doing that. I think my only issue is like don't
16 episodes.
really do the requel correctly.
Yeah.
Like do Bullseye. Like do what we set up.
Sure, but
Within
so do you
that
want
show.
them to redo Bullseye like that? Like, see, I wouldn't mind them bringing him in, but I don't think you necessarily make him like a full-on villain again, because then you kind of go you're treading ground again.
Yeah,
Treading the
true.
same ground.
And then, like that's even talking about it without these film rights kind of going all over the place.
Exactly.
Like, what were they going to do with Bullseye? You know what would be really cool if they actually did Born Again and did Karen Page as like a fucking drug addict.
Is that what she is in the comic books?
Yeah. She reveals Daredevil's
I'd
identity.
be very
to
surprised if they don't
Kingpin.
bring back all those characters. I know she hasn't been necessarily
They
recast
will.
yet,
They
but
will. They're not going to recast.
did you see the
those
behind the
people.
scenes videos of Charlie Cox? He just looks so fucking happy. I do love that he seems to be really I love how much he really enjoys that character, and I feel like it must be really hard to not look at people while you're talking to them. I feel like that would. I guess you get used to it.
I'm sure.
Yeah, you're right. But like that,
it's really not. I mean, you ever talk to people and you realize you're not actually looking at them, and like,
yeah,
it's
for
really
sure.
rare that people sit there and make eye contact.
Yeah,
with
it's
you
usually
and
kind of like
don't
a
look
back
away.
and
like
forth.
You're looking away, and like even when we podcast, we do.
Yeah, we kind of get. But that's the we're
You're
usually
not, when I'm not talking, I'll look at you. But
Yeah.
once I start talking, I will
kind
not
of
look at you.
We're talking to the fans.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think
You're
of
like, you're
anything
not
else.
looking at me right now.
See, yeah, I'm trying to think of anything else on the Savage She-Hulk.
Yeah,
Mixed bag.
Not for me.
That's fair.
I watched it. I lived it. Not for me.
Again, there are a lot of things we're just going to review on this because they're under our wheelhouse.
Yeah.
Because I feel
I think I said that about Werewolf on Air. Like we reviewing this, it's funny. Like nobody's talking about it,
I feel like it got really good reviews when it launched.
and
but
nobody's
I mean,
talking about Andor either.
I'm
and
kinda
apparently,
surpri-
it's the best thing Star Wars has done in
Well,
a while.
I
and
disagree.
nobody's fucking watching.
What do you mean
apparently.
no one's talking about it?
Apparently, I actually saw a tweet. Andor's numbers are really low,
Really?
and I'm like,
sucks.
that sucks because I'm hearing nothing but good things. And
It's really good.
I can't wait to start it. I'll
Yeah.
probably maybe this weekend now that House of Dragons is about to be over, Rings of Power's over, She-Hulk's over. We'll have reviews for all that stuff. Obviously, you're watching She-Hulk.
Yeah.
Rings of Power's out. House of Dragons will be out in a few days. Already a few days, but it could be out.
Yeah.
Follow us, Delco Nerd Network.
They would be very helpful. Guys, girls, She-Hulks, Man-Hulks, thank you all for watching. If you've been with us live on twitch.tv/Delco Nerd Network, we very much appreciate it. You can find this podcast anywhere podcasts are found. Just search Delco Nerd Network on all your favorite podcast services. We are on all the social medias as well. We're at Delco Nerds on basically everything. We got a Facebook page. We got a Discord channel. All will be linked down below. You can find all this information on our website, DelcoNerdNetwork.com. You can email us, DelcoNerds@gmail.com, with your comments, questions, or concerns. We'd be very happy to get back to you. But for Gooch, I've been Trio. Thanks for watching, guys. Stay nerdy, and we will see you next time.